Thank you, Kent, and thanks to all of you for being in attendance here today. First off, I want to make sure that I thank, I don't know if Jerence Howard is here, our interim basketball coach. Jerence has just done an outstanding job for the transition. So that's the first I thank. I want to thank the best basketball kids in the country. I know a couple of them are here today, DJ Richardson and Tyler. Thank you. I don't know if anyone else is here from the team, but these guys and these student athletes certainly are a pleasure and make me proud to be their director of athletics. A few introductions. Our first 5-star recruit of the year, and I'm sure soon to be named Rookie of the Year, Chancellor Phyllis Wise. And those individuals who were part of the search committee, some of them standing over by Chancellor Wise, Mike DiLorenzo from the Chancellor's office, Chris Mann, a faculty athletic rep, and Jason Leonard. I think Jason's somewhere around here, Deputy Athletic Director who oversees the day-to-day operations of our men's basketball program. Also, I know that our new head coach will introduce his family. Part of his family is up here. Allison, donning the orange. She's a quick study. Right, Cam Connor? That's right, Connor? I know Camden's here somewhere. Anyway, this is an exciting day for the University of Illinois and our men's basketball program. You know, most people, I guess the first question they would ask is, why John Groce? Now, if you were here yesterday or over at BFL Building, the Hall of Fame, we announced our new women's basketball coach, Matt Boland. I don't know if Matt, let's give Matt a nice round. And so if you ask why Matt Boland, or if you want to ask why John Groce, it's obvious my first criteria is the coach can't have more hair than me. But in all seriousness, Coach Groce certainly has a tremendous record of success, competitive success. He's an outstanding recruiter. If you look that he spent almost his whole basketball life in the Midwest and is part of the Big Ten fabric, he is really in so many ways his pedigree and the coaches that he's worked with, whether it's Thad Mata or Sean Miller, you can go on and on and on, Herb Sendek. He's had great mentors. He's worked side by side with some of the best coaches in the country. And I'll tell you, he has a lot of energy, a great deal of energy. I have said that already 3 times this year. So I know one thing, if I'm going to participate in the Illinois Marathon Relay, if I'm the anchor leg with Coach Beckman, Coach Boland, and Coach Groce, I'm going to be able to breeze on the way home with the gold medal. So tremendous energy, and someone who I'm excited about is the next head men's basketball coach at the University of Illinois. So at this point in time, I'm going to introduce our new coach, John Groce. John?
Thank you. Obviously, our family is excited to be a part of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I really mean that. I'll talk more about that as we go along. But before we dive into Illinois, I do want to thank Ohio University. I want to thank the president there, Dr. Roderick McDavis, the director of athletics there, Jim Schaus, as well as the board of trustees there, the athletes community, and most importantly, the players who have a big part of why this opportunity exists for my family. And I can't thank them enough. I love those kids, and they'll always be a part of our family. But again, back to the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You know, I can't explain to you what the last few days have been like. The chance to be standing up here before you, from a fit perspective, as I looked at it and looked at it for my family, being a guy from Danville, Indiana, about 107 miles, I map quested door to door. Route 36 here to Assembly Hall. Boy, it's hard to believe. You know, as a kid, I grew up watching Big Ten basketball, obviously growing up right outside of Indianapolis in Danville. And I remember watching Big Ten games on TV and coaches' shows and listening to Big Ten games on my grandmother's transistor radio. And I remember someone asked me the most vivid memory that I maybe had of Illinois basketball was of the Flying Illini. And it was I remember watching the game on television as vividly as I'm standing here today when Nick Anderson made the half-court shot to beat Indiana in Bloomington. I remember how athletic and truly flying up and down the court that team was, and obviously its trip to the Final Four. I think of the 05 team when I was at another school east of here, far east, in 05, and how good those guys were. And I remember one time a kid that played for us at the time, I was an assistant at Ohio State, saying, "Coach, I'm trying to chase D. Brown off the screens like you told me to, but he's really fast." So I have certainly some fond memories of Illinois and of Big Ten basketball growing up. For me, when I mean a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, it's exactly what I meant. I looked at it and said, I'm a little bit different than everybody else. You know, this was the first and only job that I interviewed for since I've been in Ohio. I'm a fit guy. You know, it was important for me that our family, we felt like we could plug into a community, be a vibrant part of the community. My wife's very active. She enjoys that role, as are my children, Connor and Camden. And we just felt like this would be a great community, not only to grow a basketball program, but to also raise our family. So that fit was really important. The second thing that stood out to me was that I thought to myself, Illinois, why not? Why can't we become the standard of excellence or a standard of excellence amongst those teams in the Big Ten, competing for championships, earning the right to do that? And by doing that, then you become a player on the national stage. It becomes a byproduct of that. And why can't we do that consistently there? And the answer was, we can. You know, I kept thinking through that over and over in the last 2 or 3 days. So the combination of the potential here at the University of Illinois with the fit, you know, made it that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity phrase that I used with you to begin our conversation here today. Before I answer questions, I want to recognize some people. Obviously, a very important part of the process is Dr. Easter, our president, Dr. Wise, our chancellor, Mike Thomas, our athletic director, the board of trustees, Jason Leonard, senior associate, as well as Mike DiLorenzo. Those guys and people certainly had a lot to do with me standing up here today. So we're very thankful that they've given our family this wonderful opportunity to be a part of the Illini family. I've also got a lot of family here who made the drive down Route 36. They're all down in here and up in here. I don't have time to introduce you to all of them because I know you guys have a lot of things to do today, so you don't have an extra hour for me to announce everyone that's here from hometown. But my parents are here. I do want to recognize them. My mother, Barbara Steele. Please stand, Mom. Stepfather, Jerry Steele. Jerry, you want to stand? My stepmother, Linda Groce. And my father, Larry Groce. So I do want to recognize them. Again, thanks for this opportunity. The last thing I'll leave you with before I answer questions is about in this area. Are the benches near here? Are they on this side? I'm kind of disoriented here, Kent. Is this right? This is right here? Okay. I just know a couple times when I've been here as an opposing coach, the Orange Crush made it very difficult to communicate in timeouts. So we expect you to continue to play that role. I know we've got one of the best student organizations and fan bases in the country, and we're so grateful for that. And I look forward to interacting with you guys. Questions, please.
Coach, first, congratulations and welcome right over here.
There you are. Okay, thank you.
Paul Clee from the News Gazette. You talked about a couple of years of Illinois basketball with the Flying Illini and then the 04-05 team. Those were kind of spurts when this was an elite program. How do you envision this program? Do you feel like that it's possible to maintain those standards of excellence like you talked about?
Well, that's going to be our approach. You know, and it started when I said yes to the job. You know, there's no question that I think this place, as I mentioned earlier, Paul, has tremendous potential. There's been a lot of great coaches and great players here. You know that as well as anyone. You study the history of Illinois basketball and what they've accomplished. It's a really special place. There's no doubt about that. From you know, I think about Coach Henson and those teams. Obviously, Coach Weber did a terrific job as well. Always thought his teams were very well coached as we prepared for them. And other great players and coaches. I think the challenge is exactly what you just said. And if I didn't believe that could happen, Paul, I wouldn't be standing up here. You know, I think the consistency over greatness line that Pat Riley uses all the time is what we're all looking for. And that's what we want to be about. And that's why I mentioned that vision of being a standard of excellence in our conference. And when you do that on a consistent basis, then you get the opportunity to be a player on the national stage regularly. And there's no question that that's the vision. You know, I like the hat, Ken. I'm going to keep wearing the hat. Are you guys okay with that? Can I keep wearing the hat? Ken's just saying that because he and I share the same hairline. So.
Coach, Gail Fisher, Comcast Sportsnet in Chicago. Clearly there's been a lot of discussion in the Chicago area about your hire and whether or not you have ties or connections with some of the high school coaches in the Chicago area. Clearly you know the Big Ten, having recruited for Thad Matta at Ohio State. How do you envision, though, getting your name out there and meeting with some of these other coaches in the Chicago area?
Well, we have some previously established relationships that are going to be important. And, you know, obviously I was fortunate. One of our better players that I coached at Ohio was the kid Cooper, who's from Chicago. And then I had the privilege of coaching Evan Turner when I was at Ohio State as an assistant. And obviously Chicago's rich in talent, has terrific coaching. There's a lot of people in that city that care about those kids that, you know, we're going to have to work at to connect with. But like I said, we already have a lot of previously established relationships there, more than maybe what people think. But I'm looking forward to getting to know those guys even better than what we do, and getting to know some of the coaches there that we need to know better. We're looking forward to doing that. So I understand how important that area is. I think, you know, we're thrilled that Chicago's in our state. That's great, and that's excellent. And we've got to make sure that we do the very best job of taking advantage of it, and make sure that the Illinois brand, if you will, is loud and clear in the city of Chicago.
Just curious, Coach, then have you heard from Thad Matta at all? I'm assuming he was a mentor of yours, and what has he told you about being a head coach in the Big Ten, and do you look forward to being a rival now with your former mentor?
Well, I look forward to competing against him for sure. I'm a competitive guy, but he and I are very close friends. You know, I'll never hide that. I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for him. He's meant a lot to my career professionally, and he's a really good person, first and foremost. And I've really, obviously, our family's benefited from that. So Yeah, I've talked to him. I've used him as a resource for sure, not just in this situation, but in many others. He's a part of what I call my advisory board, and will always be a part of that advisory board. So, you know, I know Allison feels the same way about their family. You know, we're thankful that they've been a part of our lives.
What's the process now for hiring your assistants, and have you talked to Jerence at this point?
No, not yet. I'm looking forward to doing that, Lauren. Hoping to do that sometime today, get a chance to meet with him and get to know him better. In terms of the staff, it's going to take a little bit of a window here. The staff, there will be some guys coming with me from Ohio. That's in flux a little bit right now based on what happens there with their coaching hire moving forward. But we're going to try to do that as quickly as we can. But at the same time, we also want to make sure that we've got what I call the right people on the bus. So I don't want to be so quick that, you know, we make a rash decision there. I think people make a place. I think people make a basketball program or a basketball staff. And so I want to make sure that we're putting the best collection of coaches together. We owe that to these kids. The guys that are going to be on that bus have got to be guys that are interested first and foremost in helping them grow as people, students, and players. And that's the type of staff that we're looking for and that we are persistently going to work to put together.
Coach, first of all, welcome to Champaign. Jim Cotter, WGCY-FM. It's always tough telling your former players of your decision to leave. How was that decision met when you met with your players from Ohio?
It was hard. Hard meeting. Those kids, like I said, I love them. You know, that'll never change. Those kids mean a lot to me. That will, you know, that was the hardest part of it. You know, someone asked me today, you know, what was, you know, you put a list together when you make a decision like this of pros and cons. You know, I didn't necessarily do that formally, but certainly the one and only, maybe the only con was that I had to walk into that meeting this morning, and say goodbye to those kids, because those kids mean a lot to me and my family.
Coach, Adam Marsh from OrangeandBlueNews.com. Talk about the style of basketball you guys like to play out on the court, and then talk about the current roster and what you think they'd fit your style of basketball, or if you can adapt to what they can do.
Well, the word I like to use the best is attack. We're like the boxer. You'll hear me use this analogy that tries to knock someone out in each of the 10 4-minute rounds and then come up for air at the end of the media timeout and swing again. You know, we're on the defensive end, we play that way. Offensively, we try to play as fast as we possibly can. I've had great depth in the past. So I've been fortunate enough that we've had great depth to be able to do that, especially the last 2 years. In terms of this team, you know, I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of film yet. I saw him play a couple times during the year just on TV and passing. You know, the interesting thing about college basketball is you're so locked in on your team and watching your team's film, or watching the opponent that's coming up next, and it seems like games are coming at you every 2 or 3 days, that I haven't really had a chance to study. I am familiar with a lot of the players because most of them are from the Midwest. I've seen them play either on TV a little bit or in a high school or AAU setting, so that helps a little bit, but I'm not going to prejudge. I'm going to start working with them. I'm looking forward to doing that, and then we're going to figure out the best style here in year one that fits them, that gives them the best chance to be successful. You know, I think adaptability is important.
Coach Jim Madsen from WHI in Peoria, way up top here. Congratulations to you, and let me ask you, kind of following up on what he asked about the current players, what do you know about the current players at Illinois, and what was your message to them today?
Well, to be honest with you, I just wanted to get to know them a little bit better. We had some fun in the discussion or meeting, if you want to call it a meeting. I know you'll get a chance to obviously talk to some of the guys, but I wanted to let them know that, hey, here's the vision, which obviously we already talked about, but most importantly, it's their program. You know, it's their program. It's a player's program. I'm a big relationship guy. I'm anxious to get to know each and every one of them. You know, we're going to work diligently to do that starting today. And that, you know, I told them my commitment to them is going to be helping them grow as people, students, and players. and thinking about helping them do that on a daily basis. You know, that's what, when I wake up every day, you know, that's kind of what makes me tick. So we talked a little bit about that. We joked a little bit. There was some laughter in there. And I know they've been through an awful lot anytime there's a transition and coaching change. So I feel their pain, and you know, now I'm here and I'm really excited to get to know them better.
Coach Eric Smith, Taylor University. You climbed the ladder pretty quickly since your time at Taylor. Talk about those days and how important those were to playing and coaching under Coach Patterson, how vital those were to who you've become as a coach today.
Well, instrumental. You know, the experience at Taylor is in fact, I just told someone the other day, Eric, that if I had to do it all over again, I'd go right back and do it again. I think it shaped and molded me into who I am as a person first, and then as a coach second, also as a husband and as a father. So, you know, I think it's something that was an invaluable experience. Coach Patterson, obviously, we mentioned Coach Mott already. Coach Patterson's the head coach at Taylor University. He's been a tremendous mentor to me. You know, maybe other than my parents, has impacted me about as much as any male in my life. So I'm thankful for that.
Coach, welcome to Champaign. Haley
Thank you.
York, UI7 News. What do you think your biggest obstacle is for this coming season?
You know, I'm not sure yet. I do know this. You'll find this out about me. I'm a glass half full guy. That's just kind of been my approach. It's always been the way that I've kind of been raised and the way I approach things. So we look at obstacles as opportunities to get better and to grow. And right now, without having studied it enough, I'm certainly not trying to dodge your question, it's hard for me to critique it and give you the one thing that I think might be you know, our biggest concern or area where we need improvement. But we'll work hard with these guys. We'll figure out, there will be some obstacles. I shared with them today that life is 70% stormy and 30% smooth. And how you deal with both determines how successful you are in life. So we'll figure out what's stormy and what's smooth, and we'll work very, very hard to adapt and like I said, put them in the best position to be successful both on and off the court.
Coach Rick Morrissey from the Chicago Sun-Times. You had success in the NCAA tournament. On the flip side of that, your record in the MAC is a little bit above 500. Can you understand why there's some skepticism about this item?
I guess my answer to that would be simply that I'm flattered to be here. I think it's an honor to be here. I'm excited about the opportunity to be here, and we're going to work really, really hard to reach the vision that we talked about. You know, I think there's always skeptics in everything in life. That's part of that stormy deal that I just mentioned to you. And if you don't have thick skin in this profession, you're in trouble. You know, you can't please everybody. You have to do what's right. And, you know, the core values that I really believe in are three things. One is integrity, two is commitment level, and three is unity. And, you know, we're going to stick by those three things and encourage our guys to grab a hold of those three core values on a daily basis. And, you know, there's going to be skeptics. That's reality. And it's all in how you deal with them. As I said, we choose to look at the glass as half full.
Yeah, okay. Hi, Rob McCauley, Smile Politely Magazine. I'm sure you want to prove all these skeptics in the Chicago area wrong. And I'm sure all of us in Media Row would love to document your successes. Do you prefer having your practices open to the media?
No, because it's a teaching environment. There will be parts of it that are, because we certainly want to be accessible. We understand how fanatical the people are about the University of Illinois basketball program. We're very grateful for that. We love that. But when it comes to teaching, I was a classroom teacher at one point in my life. I taught. And I think it's important to create an environment where kids can learn the best. And that's our job as coaches to do that. So it'll probably be a little bit of a balance of both. You know, will there be carte blanche, you know, for every minute of the practice? You know, whoever can come in wants to come in. You know, I don't think you see that in classroom settings. And to me as a teacher, and that's what I am, I consider myself a teacher, my job is to create an environment where they can learn the best. So because of that, we'll have to balance that. But we'll work with you. We're excited that everybody's excited about us. You know, we enjoy that part of it, but I do think there's a balance there when it comes to teaching and creating that environment.
Coach, do you have an opportunity to recruit? You've got a scholarship, at least one. Do you see the ability, do you have any ideas about what to go, you know, advanced ideas in terms of recruiting, as you've got only a few weeks to do it? Yeah, we've obviously, you know, I've studied it a little bit, Lauren. You know, right now, when people ask if we're still recruiting, my answer is always going to be we recruit every day, obviously within the rules. We're recruiting 24/7. Your mind has to be on recruiting constantly. It's the lifeblood of your program. It's what drives results more than anything else. I am aware of the fact that we have one scholarship, and obviously we'll be examining that very closely. The one thing is that I've learned from a lot of my mentors is it's not so much sometimes the guy you don't get, it's who you get. So we want to make sure that, you know, we don't make it, just like the staff, we're not going to make any rash decisions about who we add to the bus, to our bus that's driving in the direction that we want it to go. So, you know, I'm going to have to study that a little bit more in terms of need. I think I'll know more once I get a chance to watch a little bit of film and spend some more time with our guys here over the next few weeks working them out.
Hi, Coach. John Sabini from Gatehouse News Service. How you doing?
Good.
So you said you grew up 107 miles east of here. So does that make you a Hoosier, or how would you describe it?
You're going to put me on the spot, huh? Well, yeah, when I grew up, you guys can boo her right now if you want, but my wife is actually an Indiana graduate, so. But I didn't have obviously a lot of respect for that program and what they're doing right now. But when I was a kid, I grew up, if you ask me who I rooted for when I was a kid, I rooted for Indiana when I was a kid, when I was younger. You know, you can blame that on, God rest her soul, my grandmother. Okay? I didn't have any choice, so you can blame that on her.
Coach, Jeremy Warner from Connect FM. You said you really couldn't explain the last 2 days. Can you try and kind of fill us in on what kind of happened the last 2 days?
Well, it moved very quickly. You know, we played in the tournament through Friday. We got back in Athens on Saturday. Had a chance to decompress a little bit. Sunday was reached. Monday interviewed. You know, Tuesday/Wednesday negotiations. Wednesday offered. Wednesday took. Is that concise for you?
Coach Ray Weigel, ABC7 in Chicago. You talked about your style of play, your offense. Is there a certain type of player that you will be looking to recruit in your system, whether it's athletic style, whether it's a top 10 kid who's one and done, a 4-year college player, or a mix of the two?
Well, obviously, we're going to try to get the very best players that we possibly can that are Illinois guys. Now, I could stand up here for an hour explaining to you in detail from, you know, they got to show me that they have a desire to earn a degree. That'd be one, okay? Work ethic, toughness. And then obviously there's things aside from that, those generalities that fit specific positions that we're looking for as well. You know, because we play fast or faster, as I mentioned earlier, athleticism is important, length's important. I think motor's important. Playing with energy is important. You know, for us and how we play. You know, we like to attack the paint via the pass or the dribble, whether that's with the great post player or guys that can deck the ball and get into the paint. We utilize the three-point shot on offense. You know, defensively, you know, we like to force turnovers with our athleticism and length. That gives you a chance to get easy baskets at the other end. So those are just some of the bullet points without going on and on and on of things that I think are important characteristics. You know, I love the quote by Bill Cowher from the Steelers. when asked one time who makes the Steelers team, he said Steelers guys make the Steelers team. And so the one thing about us is we have a real plan about who we're recruiting and why. And I always ask the staff, is that an Illinois guy? And they've got to be able to tell me, or in my own observation, why or why not in certain categories or criteria. That's important. So we want to make sure that Illinois guys are on the Illinois team.
Hey Coach, Stu Durando, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. There's a lot of interest in Myers Leonard and what's going to become of him. I know you just got here, but do you have plans to talk to him, and do you have any feel for his status?
Well, I absolutely have plans to talk to him, as I'm going to talk to all the players. I'm anxious to get to know all of them better. I'm going to spend some time with him and the other guys here the rest of the day today and or tomorrow, and I'll have a better feel for that at that point.
Hey Coach, David Mercer from AP. Did Ohio make you a firm offer to raise your salary or do something to try and entice you to stay?
Yes, they did. They did everything they could. Dr. Rod, I call him Dr. Rod, Dr. McDavis, and Jim Schaus really worked hard to give our family an opportunity to stay. And we certainly enjoyed the community, enjoyed our time at the university. But again, at the end of the day, it came back to the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and the fit is what it came back to.
What kind of raise you would have gotten if you'd stayed there?
Well, you could. I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay away from that in respect to them. But you can. Knowing how everything is these days, if you read a couple newspaper articles or two in Athens, you'll probably get the information you desire. That won't necessarily be right, but it'll get you close.
Coach Groce, Coach Bolin, welcome to the Illini family.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for your time.
Mike, can you tell us a little bit about the contract, the length